Okay, Sega did not have to go this hard on Wild Riders. Check it out, you got the Jet Set Radio aesthetic mixed in with a bit of that crazy taxi, bustling city vibe, and then they threw in the fast motorbike chase action of, say, Super Hang-On. This game slaps is what I'm saying, so why don't we just get straight into it. Before we start talking about the art style and the vibe, which is very much in my wheelhouse, I actually want to look at the mechanics here first. See, this is an arcade game, so the mechanics of the thing are particularly important. Once Sega has grabbed your attention with these sweet graphics and convinced you to chuck a quid in the machine, then they need the game to actually feel good if they want you to keep feeding in those coins. And oh my goodness, does this game feel good. The controls are very simple, it's just accelerate, brake, steer, and then you also got jump and slide, but the minute you get your hands on this thing, it just clicks. It feels incredibly tight and responsive and well tuned, all of which really matters in an arcade game, and even more so in a racing game. Not that we are exactly racing here, mind you, but we are trying to outrun the cops, you know what I'm saying? So once we drop into the action, one of our crew is going to explain the general idea of the game, which is basically to keep going fast all the time, jumping gaps and sliding under obstacles as and when you see them. Pull back on the handlebar to jump, push forward to slide. Or just emulate it and assign them to buttons, of course. So you're riding wildly down these bright Sega streets, taking big risks and hitting sick tricks. And although the game is designed around one big linear path, there are a few points where it can diverge. Like here, where you can either jump into the police station and ride straight through the offices, or you can duck down into the car park and ride through there instead. It keeps things varied if you want to do a couple of different playthroughs, and it also hints at how they could have maybe opened up this game world a bit if it ever did get a home console port. Anywho, the more wild stunts you pull off and the better rank you get on them, the more distance you're going to put between yourself and the law. And likewise, if you mess it up and crash, then they're going to catch up to you pretty rapidly. And this game's version of Captain Onishima will have a good laugh at your expense.
Nice try. Not good enough.
I was so close.
So why exactly are we being chased around like this? Who are we? What have we done to bring down the entire city's police force on us? Well, we can answer at least some of those questions by taking a look at the Attract mode, which gives us a very quick window into the characters' lives and vibes.
A reckless motorcycle gangster, the fastest man in the game. Kill Raven.
Me? Lose? Never. I'm no match for anyone!
Keith, I don't think that came out the way you intended it, my dude. Okay, who else we got?
The gorgeous, the one and only fastest woman rider, Fresh Meryl!
Don't underestimate me. I'm gorgeous and I'm fast.
Well, these guys are our heroes then, Keith Raven and Trish Moon, but we do also have a surprisingly large cast of supporting characters. Very surprising actually, considering this is a game that runs for less than 10 minutes if you can give it the old 1cc. From the overbearing police captain to the burly bikers and even just the random citizens you bump into as you ride, there's a very clear narrative and a sense of place all throughout the game. It's told in little comic panel cutaways, which is pretty fitting given that the colourful cartoon style firmly puts us in that mindset. If the police are closing in on you, you'll get a panel showing the cars on your tail. If you do a crazy stunt, you'll see your gang cheering for you, just hooting and hollering, these lads, they love it. And if you vandalise public property, which you do pretty frequently in this game, then you'll find yourself being shouted at by angry hotel managers, boat owners and passers-by, who are maybe on their way to the local cinema to watch Zombie Revenge starring Stick Brightling. I see you, Sega. Oh hey, I never explained why the cops are after us. Well, actually, the game kinda doesn't explain that either. The intro sequence makes it look like we were just chilling out doing cool motorbike shit, and then the captain comes in busting our balls. It's an arcade game, so I'm not exactly here for super deep lore. If we have a look at the visuals here, the general feeling of Wild Riders, Jet Set Radio springs to mind as a pretty obvious reference point, but only because it's cel-shaded. The game actually has much more of an 80s heavy metal vibe than anything else. The gang are all kind of punk or metal looking with the leather jackets, tattoos and whatever this guy was going for. Pretty clear visual pulls from Mad Max 2 or maybe Fist of the North Star. Even the generic NPC goons with the cool gas mask type helmets look pretty badass. The soundtrack hits that tone too, with lots of chuggy distorted riffs and ripping guitar solos carried along with some very slick snare heavy beats. Each character has their own theme that plays throughout their run of the game, so let's take a look at Keith Raven's tune now. I think this one actually sounds a bit like Dio, not that Dio, this one. It goes pretty hard, and it is absolutely in the pocket for what Sega were doing in the early 2000s. You got other upbeat hard rock bangers like Escape from the City and Open Your Heart. At the time of making this video, Wild Riders sadly remains an arcade exclusive, until it appears in the next Like a Dragon game or whatever. It was originally made for the Sega Naomi 2, which the Dreamcast enthusiasts among you might know was the beefed up successor to the original Sega Naomi arcade machine. Now the Naomi 1 was home to such classics as Power Stone, Crazy Taxi, Zombie Revenge, and a whole host of other beloved faves. Also tons of other cool stuff that still hasn't been ported to any console ever, but that's for another video. The Naomi 2 was a more powerful machine than its predecessor, but not nearly as prolific in its output. It did give us Virtua Fighter 4 and its many revisions, but outside of that it's stuff like Soul Surfers and Beach Spikers, which are fun enough arcade games in their own right, but they're not exactly the kind of thing that would have fans clamouring for home ports. However, and I can only speak for myself here, but I think if Wild Riders got some kind of expanded home port a la Soul Calibur with extra stuff like challenge modes and multiplayer, it would definitely garner some interest. It would be a day one purchase for me, for sure. And you still own this Sega, so it isn't like you couldn't just throw it up on Steam, or bang out a Naomi Classics collection or something like that. I want to give you my money, Sega, please let me give you my money, God. But I think that probably does it for me today, folks. I hope you enjoyed the Wild Riders chat, and if you did, please go ahead and hit those YouTube buttons to let me know. I do have some more arcade exclusives I'd like to talk about from around this era, so that's definitely something coming up in the near future of the channel. But for now, my friends, thank you very much for watching, and drive safe.